Hi, welcome to the App Code on YouTube. Today we're going to take a look at saving a Boolean value in a property list. Now the property list actually saves a Boolean value as a NS number. So when we go to save that Boolean, we're going to convert it into an NS number. And then when we read it out of the property list, we can just get the Boolean value of that number. It's really easy. So that's our main focus of today's tutorial. We're also going to, at the same time, see how we can use a UISwitch to do something simple like change the background of our view. Just because it's part of the tutorial of saving the Boolean. So let's go ahead and get started. First thing I'm going to do is create a new Xcode project here. I'm going to do a single view application, and I'm going to name it plist tutorial, something like that. Obviously you can name it whatever you want. I'm going to add it to my source control. Let me go ahead and resize my window so you can see everything going on here. Alright, and we'll start off by creating our user view, our user interface. Just going to add a simple label here, and it's just going to say change background, and then we're going to add a switch, and need to connect that up to our UIView controller. So easy way to do that is to go to our assistant editor here, get that middle button right there, and then you just control drag from the element into our header file, and we'll just name it my switch, just like that. And there it is. Our user interface is all set up, and we have our IB outlet connected to it. Very easy. Now, there's really only two methods that we're going to work on here while doing this, and the first one is a new method that we're going to implement called change Boolean, and that is going to be a method that is called when someone changes the value of that switch. Just going to cheat here and copy and paste some code in there. Had the wrong one to start off with. Okay, so I've copied this code in, this method called change Boolean, and it just sets a Boolean variable there, and it checks to see whether the switch is on or off. This my switch, that's our IB outlet, and if it's on, it's going to change the value of our Boolean to yes, and it's going to change the background to red. And if our switch is off, it's going to set that Boolean to no and change our background to white. So that's real easy, and before we move on, I'll tell you what we're going to do. I'm just going to comment out that code, and we're going to go to our nib here, and we're just going to hook up that method to our switch. We'll use value changed, save that, and now let's just go ahead and run it and see how our switch is going to change the background. So the default was gray, and now when we change it off, it's going to be white, on is red. So we're using our switch to change the background color. And that switch value is a Boolean, and what we're going to do now is we're going to save that Boolean value in a property list so that when we close our app and then open up the next time, it remembers what our value was and sets the background accordingly. So let's go ahead and do that. Close our simulator there, and let's go to our implementation file again, uncomment this code that we commented out just a minute ago. And what this code is doing is it's getting the property list and saving the Boolean value. So go through it real quick here. We just get the path to our root directory, and then the path to our documents directory, and then the path to our property list. Our property list is named Save Boolean Data. and then we're going to create an NS dictionary that we'll use to save to our property list. And here's the key part about saving a Boolean into the property list is we need to switch it to, or convert it to an NS number. So right here we're going to use this method from the NS number, and it is number with bool. So we get our Boolean value of the switch value here, and we create an NS number with it using this number with bool method. And then we're just going to save it with the key Boolean value in our dictionary. Okay, that's pretty simple. And then we just create an error to check with our error handling, and then we're going to create NS data object that will hold our data. And finally, we're going to check and see if that data object exists. Write our data object to our plist at that path. Okay, so it's pretty straightforward as far as doing the same thing that we've always done with saving data to a property list. The only real difference is we're changing that Boolean value to a number right there. Okay, that takes care of that. That is saving the Boolean value. Now the next thing we want to do is we want to be able to retrieve that Boolean value. So to do that, we're going to work with our view will appear method. Let me make sure that's right. Yes, and I'm just going to paste some code in there. And again, the bulk of this method is the same as we've always done with the property list. This is the same as we just did in the other method. We're getting the path to our root directory, path to our documents directory, path to our property list, and then we're going to check and see if that property list exists. And if it does, we're going to, if it doesn't, we're going to create it. That would be for the first time. And then we're going to go on and we're going to create an NS data object from our property file. Again, our error is just for the error handling. And then we've got a property list format here that we're going to use when we create our NS dictionary. And finally, as long as our dictionary exists, if it doesn't exist, we throw this error. But if it does exist, we move on and we set this Boolean value with the value of that dictionary that we got out of our property list. I hope I'm explaining that correctly, or at least clearly, so that you can all understand. Let me get the whole method into view here, so in case you want to see it all together, you can. So again, we're just getting the paths, and then we're creating a dictionary from our property list here, and then here we're creating a Boolean value from that dictionary. That was our key, and we get the Boolean value of that number. And then finally, here's the last bit. We have an if-else block. If our Boolean value is true, we switch our switch to true, and we set the background to red. If our Boolean value is false, our switch will be false, and our background will be white. Okay, that's really all there is to it. Let's go ahead and run this and see how it looks. Okay, so our background is off. Our switch is off, so our background is white. We switch it to red, and then we can close our app. And then when we run it again, it's going to get that value out of the property list. It's going to set our background to red. Just like that. So there, we switched it to white. We saved that value into the property list behind the scenes. We close our app. We run it one more time. It's going to read that property list, find that our value is false, and set the background to white. And there you go. That's how we save a Boolean in a property list. Again, I hope that was helpful. Hope my explanation wasn't too confusing. If it was, you can always just look at the code that I got here. I'll pull that up once again. Here's our view will appear method. So you can pause it and see that method in its entirety. and then here was our change Boolean method. So that's all there is to it. I hope you found this helpful again. As always, you can come visit me at theappcodeblog.com to find more tutorials. And until next time, have a great day.